YMCA is an amazing organisation. It's been around since 1844, and North Staff's YMCA is one of 130 odd local YMCAs in England and Wales. We're also part of a worldwide movement that goes across 148 countries and currently is still growing. It's still the biggest youth-based organisation in the world. Still has elements of faith in terms of its view of humanity and what we're trying to do. But actually I came here in 2003, and I remember the perception of lots of YMCAs, not only this one, was hostile, grotty, often in a rough end of town, often a very old building. Lots of the buildings across Britain and the world were built in the 19th century, originally birthed by kind of philanthropists, often Christian community that wanted to do something. Stoke's a bit different, interestingly, because of the nature of Stoke's town, because of Methodism, I think, because it didn't have a big Anglican footprint. There wasn't the big philanthropist that grabbed a YMCA. So there was lots of YMCAs, typical of Stoke-on-Trent, all the way going back. There was a Shelton and Anley YMCA, there was a Stoke and Arts Hill YMCA, there was even a Bull Green YMCA, I think, all the way up there. And often they were small and were lectures, and interestingly, however many years later, we're beginning to do that learning stuff as a YMCA. You know, we have a thing called lunchtime learning now that's very much in the context of the early YMCAs that gathered people together, created conversations, did theological and prayer reflections and all of that kind of stuff. So we've almost come full circle, but let me start at 2003. The place was tired. The place had been built in 1976 by Housing Association grant, interestingly. Most YMCAs originally were built by philanthropy money in the 19th century, as said. So I came here, I remember getting the job, and I remember going to my mate's party, and these social worker types laughing at me. What are you going to the YMCA for? It's all right. So reputationally, not only with professionals, but the community, there was a bit of a campaign with a neighbour across the way to shut the YMCA down, you know, turn it into an hotel, get rid. I think there was a perception amongst the kind of more liberally types that the YMCA did a good job for the people, for homelessness, for those kids in crisis. But I really hope my kids aren't there. And that's been the challenge of the last 19 years. Are we an organisation where my kids are safe? Are they an organisation where the standards of accommodation, the standards of service would be okay with my wife for my kids? You know, and I remember going to many places in social housing where the people actually running the social housing wouldn't stay in their own social housing, including YMCA in places, which I thought was, well, if you're not good enough service for you, why would it be good enough for somebody else?